Good morning, guys. So I'm not really good at it, but I'm doing something every Friday, which is Karate Go Shindo. Is that the name?
Exactly.
And he's my teacher. I think I started a year ago. You have 4 Dan, 3 Dan?
3 Dan. So
3 Dan. So that's a black belt, 3 Dan. That's a lot. I don't know if you know how that works, but that's a lot.
Us! Așa, să arătăm parteneri de antrenament și acum ne încălzim un pic pe picioare. Sup. O să vin lent cu ele, prin viteză și în control. Dar nu o să le opresc la jumate ca să le lansez. Dacă eu sunt aici dur și am o tonă, ce faci? Îl faci pe loc, tragi pe ăsta în spate și acum ăsta intră în față. Bun, dăm tu un pumn în față. Nu mai e în spațiu, da? Mai bagă-mi un pumn. Ok? Sau oricum ăsta ia fața. Fii atent un pic la asta, că el trebuie să-și facă treaba la tine. Îl ai, dar nu-ți controlează încă adversarul. Simți că el aici se armează? Fix ca să-i spargă fățuca. Cum dai un pumn? Bum! Aia se întâmplă. Am curățat fața și îți iau iar cotul. Sau îți iau fața. Pentru că ăsta își face treaba. Deci stai dur pe mine. Una și acum vine a doua. Face pumn. Înțelegi? Una, a doua. Sau cealaltă situație în care o are aici. Pumn în față. Îi iau celălalt tot ca să nu mai facă nimic. Trag pe tine acolo, să-l înfic pe ăsta în față. Bun, te ghintăm. Hai să ne salutăm. Deci nu e regulat, ne și salutăm. De ce? Pentru că e ca un fel de ancoră. Băi, am șters totul cu buretele. Data viitoare când salut, deși poate m-am bătut cu ăla acum de m-a luat dracu, o iau de la zero. E partener de antrenament care mă ajută pe mine să-mi curăț greșelile, să le identific și să le curăț. Dacă tu la început de să te știngă cu bagaj, ai pus-o, înțelegi? Așadar, am curățat, intrăm iar. Aici intrăm în modul de luptă. Bam, nu mai există cam ciorba acasă, cam alte tâmpenii. Știi? Verific poziția.
First, tell me, how did you start in the first place, 14 years ago? And what are the benefits for people and stuff? Because I feel this is, I like it a lot, you know? Yeah.
Okay, very simple. I started karate when I was very, very young, around 7. I did it for 4 or 5 years. But it wasn't exactly what it was supposed to be. That's why it didn't catch me, because it was all that hopping around, and I got a point and you got a point and everybody was happy. That wasn't enough to keep me going through childhood. After I wanted to get big, I went to the gym in the 9th and 10th grade. I became unsatisfied with that as well, because I just felt I was just rigid and I needed more, something more intense and to catch my brain. And I was at my cousin's 18th birthday. Somebody there said, yeah, I do karate, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I want to see how that is. And that's when I went. It was February 14th when I went to the first training.
2000 what?
2004. Okay, yeah, so
Whoa.
I'm older than you.
Yes.
And 6 months later, I went to the first training session in the mountains. It was like a camp. And we had lots of fun. We just walked around everywhere, we hiked a lot, and we trained every morning. And that's when I met Hanshi Leviu Bădescu. Everybody calls him Sensei. So Sensei means born before. After that I said, okay, this is what I'm doing. I started the Polytechnica University because no way in hell I wasn't going to do what I was good at. And back then nobody could do anything with martial arts to have both of them reconciled, to have good income and to be able to do it in a correct manner, because you can just do 50,000 competitions and make money that way, but it won't really preserve what you should be doing as a practitioner.
And now you've been doing it like 14 years, right?
Yeah.
And why are you still doing it every day? Like, I think that's fascinating. I know I'm doing it for a year, and it's not hard for me.
It's awesome, first of all, because if you're a guy and if you come from a rough neighborhood where I used to beat everybody and I used to get away with it because I had an older brother. So first I started because I liked the testosterone. People think that it doesn't work. Actually, it works very well if you do it right.
Meaning it increases your masculinity overall, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing. On so many levels. So this is a book to discuss. After that, I noticed that my body was getting in better shape every day. So when I was doing it correctly, I discovered that it had physical benefits. Because it's not like you're doing some weightlifting, some brainless, because you can do it smart or you can do it like I did it. And because I wasn't doing it right, I was getting aches all over. And then this is sort of functional compared to that.
Yeah.
And because of the physical benefits, I kept doing it. But also I noticed that this technique and the spirit behind it is super fascinating. Because let's say after 3 or 4 years, you don't have any other fears that you're gonna get your ass beat up anyway.
So
you can handle everything.
That's what happened to me. I think for me, after doing it for 1 year, just getting beaten up every week by Kostin, I think what happened with me, the only thing I think that changed outside of the physical training we're doing outside of karate, is there's like an additional layer of confidence.
Exactly.
Like a subtle layer of confidence. I know it's somebody just walks up, and I'm not the guy to get into fights. I don't like it, but I know if somebody walks up, I can fight back. I'm not tossed around.
Yeah.
So it's like a subtle level of confidence, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a deep level of confidence.
Super important. You can never have enough of it.
Yeah.
From my perspective. And then I tell people, hey, what do you think I'm doing it for? Because I could solve and you could solve your personal insecurities by carrying a pepper spray or something like that, or a taser. But why would I keep investing increasing levels of energy and attention and also money to train if I wasn't getting something more out of it? Because how many people could put me in a bad situation right now? Not that many.
Yeah.
So you do it because you get to spend lots of time with yourself. You do have to train a lot by yourself at some point to get better. We put some seeds today, you learn some new techniques, you're gonna think about them, you're gonna sleep with them on your mind, and then 6 months later you'll be automatically doing them.
Yeah.
But you can't do that just by reading a book.
If I'm in fight, if I'm practicing with you, and something enters my mind, like, oh, I need to worry about that, then my mind is full.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're like, what
Exactly.
the fuck just happened? It's like you beat me up because my mind is full with something and is not focused on the moment. So it teaches you to focus in the moment a lot more.
That's exactly it. It always teaches you to be in the moment and to trust your instinct, because you cannot overthink a movement or a punch. Because what you do is, it's like you learn a language. You learn a language and you want to express yourself. But this is a physical language and you use techniques. Techniques are words. But you need to convey a message. If you don't have the spirit, if you don't have a peaceful message that you want to end this now, you will not be able to use that technique to solve that issue. So it's like you take a pill. It's going to take you from point A to point B.
Right.
But what are you doing with it? And once you get to master a couple of techniques and to relieve your brain of how do I do it correctly to punch this guy this one time? Once you automate that, then you go to the deeper level. You go to the tactical level.
Right.
What do I want to accomplish? And then you go to the strategic level. Because
even more high
samurai used to call themselves. So Musashi in the Book of Five Rings keeps using the word strategist for fighter. Because they actually do strategy. They win because they beat your frame. Everybody at some point has enough speed to punch you if they have the first chance to attack, but that means you got to beat them on a different level.
So it teaches you to become more of a strategic and high-level person. I love it.
Yeah, so not only you have a pretty stoic education and self-education, you got to learn to go to the right masters, because you can learn it off YouTube, and we're in 90% of the commercial gyms. You can't just do some Taibo and you say, okay, I'm going to defend myself. Because you got to build your confidence and your mentality to always seek the next thing you got to improve. Let's say you want to increase your level by 1 notch. Yeah, you learn to kick better, you learn to do 5 more push-ups. But what gets you from point A to point B will not be the same thing that gets you from point B to where you want to be. So you always got to keep your mind open.
And, yeah.
What do I need to improve in myself in order to accomplish the next thing? So you can't be a one-trick pony. I'll always do the same types of push-ups and physical training and technical training, and every time, so every year or so, you notice that
doesn't work anymore.
For the techniques you did beautifully 1 year back, I think that's insufficient, and you start looking for an answer. And when I became black belt, I started seeing the punches as a whole different universe in itself
than before.
Yeah, so it's one whole different dimension. Oh my god, what you can do here. Unlike most people would think, kata is not just to look pretty in a competition. It's forms which you practice with somebody and then by yourself. Why? Because if I just teach you a bunch of words, you need to have them in a story to be able to practice them, right?
Got it.
Okay?
Got it.
And it's super important to understand that that is a personal experience. You have to live it. You don't just have to do it. It can look very pretty, but unless your mind is there, that's why I moved most of my trainings to the morning, because I can put the right amount of energy in it. Unless your mind is there, it doesn't matter if you get tired or if you sweat 2 liters or you don't sweat at all. It matters if you really visualize what you're doing, and it looks pretty common to see. Yeah, it looks pretty monotonous to see me doing it 20 times. But every time I'm doing it, like we did earlier,
envision the actual fight of you doing that.
It's always a bit different. This time I'm doing it on the spot because I imagine I have a very hard, big opponent. Yeah, I'm never going to run after my opponent 20 steps just to beat him. Yeah, so
right.
Sometimes you gotta think that you're off by 2 degrees to allow him to go.
So you think of all different scenarios and just make them up and just do that. Cool.
It's a different strategic idea behind it. You can do it with an open hand, you can do it with a closed hand. Each of these brings some other follow-ups to the fight. What you gotta do is you don't need 200 perfect moves. You need a couple of them, very high quality, and you need to know how to lead your opponent so that you can use your initial advantage in order to have a definite advantage and to finalize. It's like in life, you don't need a Harvard diploma to have a good business. You got to have a big heart. You got to do the right things at the right time. It's not rocket science. So initially you learn that, although it seems like a lot to learn, you got to learn the basics very well and keep hammering at that away. Because if you say hi to somebody, you know who that guy is from hello.
Love it. Thank you, man.
Right.
This is something that's really interesting to me. I know 1 year ago when I called Costin, I wanted to start practicing with him. Because I stopped doing my dancing stuff, I needed something to get disciplined because I love that. So I hope you like that. And yeah, this was kind of a vloggy style video. Hope you like it. Let me know if you want to see more of this, and bye-bye. Ok? În viață nu e ca la matematică, nu primești 8,75.